Friends, this has been thought about for a very long time, that a lot of entrepreneurs who are also members of TiE Chennai and also some non-members of TiE Chennai, they frequently approach TiE Chennai Secretariat for various help. One such help is getting some information about, okay, I have an idea, now I want to start the business, so how do I move forward? No, I know how to develop my product, but what should I do? Should I form a company, or should it be a proprietorship, or should it be a partnership? So what should I do? What should be my next step? So this is one set of people come and ask like this. So other set of people, hey, I have got the company in place. Now people talk about registrations of GST, PF. So can you explain about what are the registrations you need to do? Why don't you guide us on that? So this is one set of questions we get. And some people come and ask me, now, should I start private limited company or should I start a one-person company? And what are the benefits of this? And some other will ask, in which form of company there are less compliances and there are more tax benefits? And some people ask, I want to raise equity. So can I go as a proprietor, as a partnership, or as LLP? What should I do? Or should I start a private limited company? Guide us on that. Now some people ask me, they're all saying audit is compulsory. What is audit? What should I do? How will I appoint an auditor? And some other queries are like income tax. Should I pay advance tax? What is withholding tax? And some other questions are relating to GST. What is that input credit? When should I file the returns? Various questions all relating to startups. While we know an established organization will have a panel of experts to advise them on all these things, we felt budding entrepreneurs who are just incubated or who have just invested 5 or 6 lakhs or who have got some seed money, they can't really have a panel of experts. At the same time, we can't expect the entrepreneur to be knowledgeable on all the aspects right away when they start the business. So there we thought there is a need that a structured education series should be given by TiE Chennai to the entrepreneurs who depend on TiE Chennai for a lot of help. So this will be a great value addition to the TiE Chennai ecosystem, which already they are doing a very good job. This is one more value addition for TiE Chennai, or one more value addition that TiE Chennai is going to give it to or offer it to the members. So friends, you might be knowing we'll have 2 sessions per month. This month it is 3rd Thursday and 5th Thursday. Afterwards it's going to be 2nd Thursday and 4th Thursday. We will announce a topic, say, in the previous session itself. For example, what is the topic for the next session? We will announce at the end of this session. So whatever questions you have, you can send an email so that we don't miss out any of your questions. And each session will be a complete module in itself. But each session will be taking a very small aspect. And step by step, we will cover everything which your organization needs. This 1 hour session also we have planned that around 45 minutes, I'll be presenting some basic information about this topic. And last 15 minutes, I'll be answering your questions. In case we are not able to do it within the 1 hour allotted time today, probably we can also answer through emails, or we will cover those answers in the next session. So with this, finally, when I was discussing about entire thing with Akila, Akila has been coming out with a lot of innovative plans, and she has come out this idea, TiE Essentials, and that is how we are here to commence yet another innovative of TiE Chennai, that is TiE Essential. So I congratulate Akila and team for this initiative. I also congratulate all of you who have decided to come for this session and learn something about fundamentals of whatever we are going to talk about. So with this, we are just starting the session. Now,
Sir, sorry for the interruption, sir. There is a slight echo and disturbance in the audio.
Echo.
So if you could come closer to the laptop, then it will be easier.
Yeah, Priya, this is fine. Now it's fine. Priya, now it's fine.
Yeah, it's much better, sir. It's much better. Thank you.
Okay, but whatever I was explaining, was it clear to some extent, or should I?
Yeah, it was clear, sir. Not a problem.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So when entrepreneurs, when they decide to start the entrepreneurial journey, first they will be thinking about what business they want to start. I think it will take some time. They would have done a lot of research, discussed with a lot of people. Then they thought, okay, I think I should go in for a business. Now, the moment they decide that they want to go in for business, the next question which comes to them is, what should be the form of the entity? And what are the various forms available? Everybody says you should start a company. Okay, if not company, what are the other options? And all these things come under the topic various forms of organization. Even though there are a lot of forms, in theory, we are going to see certain forms which are applicable to all the startup entrepreneurs. So what are the forms? I'll just get into the slide. So if you see what are the forms, majorly there are 6 or 7. First one is sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship is an individual organization. Anybody can start in their own name, or they can fix a name for the company, name for the business, and they can start straight away. And partnership, when more than one person, 2 people or more come together to start a business, it's a partnership firm. Then you have limited liability partnership. Then you have private limited company and one-person company, Hindu undivided family, cooperative society, then public limited companies. So these are the various forms. Today we will see what are these 6 forms, get to know what are the features of each form, what are the advantages of each form, and what are the disadvantages each form. And finally, we will decide how we are going to select a particular form of organization. So sole proprietorship is a one-man organization. In the sense, it is owned by one person. For example, you want to do the business, straight away you can go and start the business. You have to just open a bank account and you can be the sole proprietor or sole proprietrix. It doesn't call for any major registrations. You have to go approach the bank and they will ask you for just a letterhead and a FAR seal. With that you can start. It's very simple, and you have millions of proprietorship organizations in India. The very first thought comes to someone is, when I want to start a business, they straight away start. You have seen a lot of people, housewives, they start some business from home. And some individuals, immediately after college, they do some business on their own. And most of them prefer to start proprietorship because there is not much of a complications. In fact, there is no difference between you and the business. You are just doing a business as an individual, and you are investing your money, you are managing by yourself, and you are controlling the business. That is a sole proprietorship organization. What are the advantages? It's very easy to form the sole proprietorship. You don't need any government registrations, like you have to have a partnership deed, you have to go to the registrar firm and register this. That is not required. Or you have to prepare a memorandum of association, articles of association, get the name approval, file it with Ministry of Commerce, MCA. That is not required. You don't need any such registrations. You just need a letterhead and go to the bank, open a bank account. That's it. No government regulatory paperwork and compliance to be fulfilled. Okay, I want to start my business as a proprietorship. How long it will take? No paperwork. The moment you decide, the business is started straight away. How much should I invest? How much you need? You need 1 lakh for the business? That is enough. You need 10,000? That is enough. Or you want to start a business with just 1 rupee? Even then you can do. So no minimum capital investment compulsory. It is only a need for the business. If the business needs some money, you have to invest. Then who controls? You have a total control and ownership. You own 100% of the company and you have total control of the company. You don't have to worry about anything like, will somebody take my business? Or will somebody interfere in my decision-making capabilities? Nobody will interfere on that because it is your child, your own property, you own it 100%. Next, I'm making profit. Should I share it with anybody? You don't have to share it with anybody. You might ask, should I pay tax? Yes. Tax is different. We'll come to that later. But as far as the profit, I mean profit after tax. All of you should understand, I'm making profit. Don't think the profit belongs to you. Profit means profit after tax. I'm only talking about profit after tax. Okay, after tax, I have some amount of profit. What should I do? You can do whatever you want. You can plow it back in the company, or you can invest it somewhere, or you can use it and utilize it in whatever way you want. So there is no question of sharing the profit with anybody. So in the initial stages, many people would like to get into this type of proprietorship organization because there is less compliance cost and not much of interference from outside. As you see advantages, by now you would have thought there are some disadvantages also. The disadvantage is there is no difference between you and the company, you and the business. You say the business borrowed 10 lakhs loan. Actually, you can't say business borrowed 10 lakhs loan. You should say, I have borrowed 10 lakhs loan. From the business, if you are not able to repay, the lender will come to you and you are liable to pay. That means the liability towards the outside world is unlimited. That's one of the disadvantages of a sole proprietorship. You can't say, I'm different, my business is different. Though as per accounting principle, you are different from business. For external world, if they are giving you loan, they are giving it to you. And if you are not able to repay it from the business, you are supposed to repay from the personal assets of your own savings. That's unlimited liability is one disadvantage in the proprietorship. Second one, as you want to slightly scale up, you might need some money. First you use our money. Then when you want to borrow from outsiders, they will have a slight thinking. Oh, if I give a loan, how will he repay? The business goes bad, does he have personal savings? So there will be a slight difficulty in getting. Or once again, when you go to the bank for some working capital loan, they say, we can't depend on one person to give the loan. If something happens to him, what will happen to the money? So there might be some resistance in giving the loan. Once again, you want to go to some investors. Investors will invest only when you have a private limited company, so that you can issue shares to them for the money they invest. So these are the disadvantages of sole proprietorship. However, till you go to outsiders for getting money, till you want to go to the scale-up stage, many people prefer to have proprietorship because of the very simple nature of operation. Hope all of you are clear with proprietorship. But many people, when they come to me with a lot of ideas, I say, first, just don't wait for anything. Start on your own as a proprietor. See for some time. Then let us decide whether you want to go as a partnership or whether you go as a private limited company. Hope all of you have got this first point very clear. Then from proprietor, we will move on to partnership. Proprietorship or proprietrix is one person. The moment you say partnership, it's more than one person. Once again, there are a lot of business which are run as a partnership firm. It came in 1932. It talks about the regulation of partnership firm in India. So what is a partnership firm? Two or more people coming together to do a business enterprise, and all of them agree to contribute at one given ratio. All of them agree to take up some responsibility, and all of them are willing to share the profit or loss. This is a partnership firm. Once again, I see some people, when they come to me, they come together. 2 or 3 friends come together. So they ask, what is the firm? What is the form of organization I should start? I said, who wants to start? You want to start, or 2 of you, 3 of you together want to start? I say 3 of us want to start. The choice is very clear. Proprietorship is not possible. You need to start it as a partnership firm. So partnership is a relation between 2 or more persons who have agreed to share the profits from a business carried on by either all of them or any of them on behalf of acting for all. For example, 3 persons might be partners, and 3 of them will say, we will nominate 1 person to act on behalf of everybody. So that is how the partnership firm is defined. Now, what are the features of this partnership firm? See, if you are a proprietor, there is no need for an agreement, because you control everything. You are not answerable, accountable to anybody within the organization. But when you come as a partner, there should be a clear agreement between the partners. Many times, the business collapses due to lack of proper agreement. You should have a very clear agreement. Who are all the partners and how much they are going to invest, and what will be the roles and responsibilities. What happens if somebody wants to retire, somebody wants to resign? What happens if somebody wants to bring in somebody as a partner? How much capital each one is going to bring in? There is no money in the company. Will anybody give a loan to the company? And how will you share the profit or losses? The agreement should touch upon all the possible points, because agreement is only to set a framework for all your actions. Many times, after 2 or 3 years, there is a dispute coming up among the partners. Most of the time, the dispute comes because initially when they started the organization, there was no proper agreement among themselves. So the partnership agreement is a main feature of partnership firms. The other feature, unlimited liability. Like a proprietor, you might say partnership is an organization, it's a partnership firm. Is it not a separate entity? But even though it is a separate entity, a partnership firm is not different from the partners. It is not a separate legal entity, even though it is a separate entity. For example, A, B, C, and D are coming together to form a partnership firm XYZ. Now, A, B, C, D, and XYZ are same. Even though the name of the firm is XYZ, name is a separate, XYZ a separate entity. XYZ will have its own bank account, will have its own name, will have its PAN, TAN, GST. Even though it has got everything separately, it is not separate from the partners. So the liability of the partners is unlimited. Meaning, if a partnership firm gets a loan from the bank and the partnership firm is not able to repay the loan, the partners have to pay from their personal friend. They can't say, this is a loan of a firm, so we will not pay. Got the point? There is no distinction between partners and the firm. If a firm is liable for something, the partners are equally liable for that. They can't escape the liability saying that we are different and the firm is different. It is called unlimited liability of the partnership firm. And in proprietorship also, we have the same issue. Proprietorship also, there is unlimited liability. Continuity. There are three partners. A partnership cannot carry out in perpetuity. The death or retirement or bankruptcy insanity of a partner will dissolve the firm. The remaining partners may continue the partnership if the new contract must be drawn up. Also, the partnership of a father cannot be inherited by his son. If all agree, he can be added as a new partner. So there is always, like proprietorship also, the continuity is a problem. Something happens to him, continuity is affected. Same way partnership also, it is not a separate legal entity. There are only two partners. Something happens to one partner, what happens? The partnership is dissolved. So the continuity is always a problem in the partnership firm. Suppose there are two partners. They want to continue the business as a partnership firm, but one person wants to come out. The moment one person goes out, it is no more a partnership firm. So what generally people will do, they will bring in one more person as a new partner. Now three people will become, and one person might come out. They might redraft the agreement among the existing partners. Then number of members, minimum of 2 and maximum of 100. This is a partnership firm. Mutual agency, this is another important feature of a partnership firm. There are three partners and every partner represents other partners. They can't say, I am representing myself, I am disconnected from other partners. Everyone is representing other partners as an agent of other partners. So these are the 5 features we have seen in the partnership firm. 1, there should be an agreement. Second, the liability is unlimited. Then you should have minimum 2 members. And the continuity issue and the concept of mutual agency. Let us come to the advantages of partnership firm. Easy to start. Probably when you compare it to proprietorship, it is slightly one step above. Proprietorship, absolutely no formalities. Here you should have a partnership deed and go and get it registered with the registrar of firms. To that extent, it is also easy. It's not like a company where you have to prepare the memorandum of association, articles of association. Somebody should subscribe, then you should apply for the name, then you go and file all the papers, then get the registration, then have a statutory meeting. All those complications are not there. It's very easy to start. What you need to do is prepare one partnership deed, have the terms very clear, go to your registrar of that locality, file it. Now the filing is also online. Then you have to pay some small registration fees. Once you pay the registration fees, your partnership comes into existence. You can start doing the business. Once you have the registration done, that registered partnership deed is enough to open a bank account, to get a GST number, to get a PAN number, to get a TAN number, to open a bank account, or you want to enter into any agreement. That registration is enough. You'll get a certificate of registration from the registrar of firms. Other advantages partnership firm is decision making. It is always collaborative effort. Why? There are two people. One is good in marketing, one is good in production. Partnership, it is possible. In proprietorship, you always have a limitation of one person's experience. Here you have multiple experience. That's why when you have partnership, each partner should be specializing in one area. One might be good in finance and account, one might be good in law, one must be good in production, one might be good in marketing. So one must be very good in HR or administration. So the decision making becomes easier. Raising of funds. Once again, comparing that with the proprietorship. This is one step better than the proprietorship. Because when somebody is giving you money, they know there are 3 partners, there are 2 partners. This is better than depending on one person in the proprietorship. And bankers might also prefer partnership firm than a proprietorship firm. Sense of ownership. Every partner owns and manages the activities of the firm. Ownership creates a higher sense of accountability, which paves the way for diligent workforce. The sense of ownership that is there in the partnership firm. Disadvantage. When you know the advantages, you should also know what are the disadvantages. As I said, the liability is unlimited. Even though partners and the firm are different, when the question of liability comes, partners cannot say, I am not responsible for the liability. The court can touch the personal assets of the partners to recover the amount. Restriction on number of members. Just there is a small correction in this. Now you can have up to 100 members. You should have a minimum of 2. Lack of public trust. Excuse me. Yeah, sorry about it. Lack of public trust. Generally, when you see the public in general, they'll place more reliance on the incorporated companies rather than partnership firm. Because an incorporated company, a private company or limited company have much more governance, much more strict regulations. So public, for example, a finance company, when public wants to invest, they would like to invest in a limited company rather than a partnership firm. Or when they want to enter into some contract, they would like to place more trust on a company rather than a partnership firm. The reason is, if we have a company, it is a public entity, public document. The memorandum of association, articles of association, they are all public documents. The companies have to file the memorandum, articles, everything with the register of companies. Anybody can go and download those documents and see. So I want to enter into a contract with the business venture. If it is a company, I have no problem. I can go to the Registrar of Companies website, MCA website, download these documents and see who are the directors, how much they have invested, what is the revenue, what are the liabilities in the company. So there is always a disclosure, public disclosure of the basic things. But in partnership firm, if I want to enter into a contract with partnership firm, I cannot source any public document to know about the firm. I have to only depend on what partners say. I can't go to the income tax department and get the income tax return of the partnership firm. That is not possible. Income tax returns are So I just come through my mobile, and there are a few more slides. I think instead of slides, I can actually explain. So we're talking about partnership firm, and we have seen the advantages, and we have started discussing about the disadvantages of that. So disadvantage one is unlimited liability. If there is a loan or anything taken by the partnership firm, then the partners are liable when the company is not able to pay that. Then lack of public trust. I said, when the public, when they want to enter into a contract, they would definitely like to go to a company because the documents are available for verification. In partnership firm, those documents are not public documents, so public might not place that trust comparing to a company. Then abrupt dissolution. If two partners are there, one partner, something happens to one partner, partnership firm is just dissolved abruptly. But when you take a company, it is not possible like that. There is a set of procedures a company has to do before it is being dissolved. So far we have seen a sole proprietorship and a partnership. And the third category is limited liability partnership. So limited liability partnership, what does it mean? This is nothing but a partnership firm. The only difference is this is also regulated by the Registrar of Companies. There's a separate act called Limited Liability Partnership Act, LLP Act. And the partnership deed has to be registered with the Registrar of Companies. So it becomes a corporate status. While partnership firm doesn't have a corporate status, a limited liability partnership has got a corporate status. So what is the advantage of an LLP over partnership firm? In LLP, the liability is limited. That is why people want to move from partnership to LLP. So in LLP, what happens? You got the advantages of a partnership firm. You have two partners, you have three partners, you have a partnership agreement. At the same time, there is a limited liability. If there is something due from the partnership firm, some partnership firm owes something to somebody, the LLP alone is responsible. The partners of the LLP are not responsible. So this is one step better than a normal partnership form. So this is a third form, limited liability partnership. Then the most popular one is a private limited company. You might ask, what is a private limited company? Proprietorship, partnership, LLP. These three categories. Fourth category is private limited company. This is a more structured one. This is regulated by, share screen. Yeah, actually due to some technical issues, I'm not able to share that. I'll try to explain without that because we have only a few more slides for today. I'll just explain that. Go step by step slowly so that you will understand. Please excuse me for that because if I spend some time, then I might miss out some time. So we'll go with this. We have another only say 10 or 15 minutes. But I will share the slide with all of you through TiE Chennai. So the fourth one is a private limited company. It is more structured one. For example, many people when they say, I have more than 2 or 3 people, I want to scale up the business. I want to actually go to some investors for getting some money. I want more governance in place. Then I would suggest it's going to be a private limited company. And private limited company, there is more public trust. And it has got a structure. You have to apply for the name. Then you have to create a memorandum of association or articles of association. These are all called constitution of the private limited company. And this should be submitted to the Registrar of Companies. They will go through this and they will approve this.
Once they approve, then only a registration is complete. A private limited company is started. Then the features of private limited company. What are the features of private limited company? One, ownership can be expanded. For example, you have 3 people. Can 10 people become owners? Yes, possible. 15 people become owners? Possible. Because the ownership is given based on the capital contributed by the owners. For example, for every capital which is introduced, the company will issue shares. So one person might hold 10,000 shares. Another person might hold 5,000 shares. Another person might hold 5,000 shares. So the ratio is 10:5:5. And you want somebody investing 2 lakhs, you want to give them 200 shares. Like that, you can spread. For a private limited company, you just need a minimum of 2 people. And you can have a maximum of 200 shareholders. That means you will be able to mobilize a lot of money from nearly 200 people. This is one of the features of private limited company. Second, a private limited company should have a board of directors. A private limited company should have minimum 2 directors. Who are the directors? See, there might be 50, 60 owners who may not be participating in the business. So those shareholders elect a board of directors, and those board of directors will manage the operations of the company. Then governance. A private limited company should have regular board meeting. Then you should have an auditors. You should have a year-end audit done. An audited report should be submitted to the Registrar of Companies. So these are the regulations for a private limited company. Fourth one, public trust. Investors would like to invest only in a private limited company because once they invest money, they'll be able to get a ownership from the private limited company by way of shares. So friends, this is a private limited company which is very organized, structured. There is more governance, there is more public trust, and decision-making power is more. And you can have even 10, 20, 30 people. You can have more than 2 or 3 founders. So with all these benefits available, when your company is slowly moving to the next level, it wants to scale up, it wants to get more equity from outside, it wants to go to banks for better loan facilities, then it wants to retain employees, then they want to expand, they want to go to multiple places, a private limited company is the obvious choice. However, when you want to start the business first time, we would not suggest straight away start a private limited company. Just work as a proprietorship. If there are more than 2 or 3 people, just start as a partnership firm, create the product, go to the market, see that it slightly moves on, and now you want to scale up, you want to get some equity from outside, or you want to invest more money. At that time, you can always create a private limited company and take over the partnership firm or proprietorship. These are the basic things I wanted to cover today. So let me go through whatever questions you have asked. I'd like to answer that. Yeah, Javagar wants to.
Sorry.
Yeah, please ask the question.
Yeah, I'm asking questions which they had sent earlier, so
Yeah.
I'm starting from the beginning. As a consultant / coach with a GST in personal name, am I a sole proprietor? Mr. Jaydeep has asked this question.
Yeah, see, you are an individual, you don't have a partners, then obviously you are a sole proprietor. And the GST, PF, ESI, those are the registrations that will be applicable for all forms of organization. For example, as a consultant, when you do the business as a proprietor, when your revenue exceeds a particular limit, you have to obviously go for a GST in your name. That doesn't have any relation with the whether it's a proprietorship or partnership form. This is common. Yeah.
So to start a proprietorship firm, we don't need any government registration. Then should we be having a Udyog Aadhar registration? If yes, then what is the need for it?
See, to start a proprietorship firm, okay, what you need to do is to just open a bank account first. Okay. And sometimes when you apply for some tenders or something, they might ask for a MSME registration or this Udyog Aadhar registration. For that, they might be asking this. Otherwise, there are not much of formalities for starting a proprietorship firm.
Can a proprietorship firm be converted into private limited company later?
Okay.
Yeah, I think you already covered it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're asking whether proprietorship can be converted to private limited, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that can be done. Most of them actually do like that. But many times when there is a funding happens to a company, that time only they convert the proprietorship into a private limited company. That is possible. Yeah.
What is the maximum number of partners allowed in a partnership firm as per Act?
See, minimum is 2. Maximum, you don't worry how much you have, 10 or 15, you can go up to 100. There is no question. You can't go beyond 100. And when you say you are having even 6 or 7, it may actually not help to be a partnership firm, though the maximum is 100. Ideally, if you have 4 or 5, yes, maximum that can be. When you think of 70, 80, then it becomes a private, that better to have it as a private limited company rather than a partnership firm. Maybe your question now, can I have 5 people, 6 people, or 7 people? Yes, you can have.
Next question is, why is private limited firm is more believed than LLP firm for a loan sanctioner?
Yeah. See, LLP is just one step above a partnership firm. That's all. Why? The only advantage is liability is limited. Otherwise, LLP is like a partnership firm. It is suitable for some professionals. Then it is suitable for some 4 or 5 people, do some technical consulting, or some small sized firm. But it is almost like partnership firm. The differentiation is it is have a limited liability, then it is registered with the registrar of companies. And private limited company is much more structured. There is more governance and your documents are visible to public. Who are all the directors? How much revenue you have made? What is the share capital? All those things are available to the public. You can go type the SIN number of the company and get all these documents. And it is regulated by Companies Act. There is compulsory audit returns to be filed, annual returns to be filed, director's appointment should be filed, share issue should be filed. That means everything is clearly captured. Even if you want to enter into a contract with the company, you can go to the Articles of Association and see whether the company is eligible to provide this contract, whether the directors are eligible to enter into contract. That is why there is more reliability on the private limited company. That is why investors depend on private limited company and not LLP.
Yeah. So if for a sole proprietorship, only one person is in charge. So this sole proprietorship company cannot be converted into private with one person. That is what.
No, the moment you say private limited company, you need minimum 2 people. And in case you want to have a company structure for a sole proprietor, there is a concept of 1-person company. There is only 1 person. Actually, it doesn't make any difference. It's a corporate form and there is only 1 person in. But when the turnover goes beyond 2 crores, it can't be a 1-person company. So obviously, a proprietorship can be converted into private limited company only when you bring in some more people. With a single person, you can't start a regular private limited company, but you can start a 1-person company. It's more of a corporate structure for a proprietorship firm. That's
all. So in LLP, the liability is on the firm. How is this decided in case of loss?
See, liability is on the firm. In the partnership firm, liability is on the firm as well as the partners. But banks give a better priority over the for LLP than the firm because it is a registered and structured organization, and they have to file some returns with the ROC. So partnership firm and LLP, still banks are giving because most of the loans banks give, they are collateral based. So they take a collateral security and give loans. Okay. From the partners angle, there is a benefit. Partners angle, there is a benefit because if something goes wrong with the firm, they are not personally liable. That's why they want to start a LLP. They want to take the advantage of the partnership firm as well as a private limited company. So a partnership can become a limited liability. That's why it's called a limited liability partnership firm.
There is a question on what is the tax slab for each organization. But
so the first session, I'm just going to talk about the forms of the organization. I have spoken. And the next session is going to be registration for all these organizations. How are you going to register a proprietorship? Then the third session will be on taxation aspect of all the organizations. So that needs around half an hour to explain. We will take it up in the next sessions.
What are the disadvantages of private limited?
See, the disadvantage is there is a lot of complaints. There's a complaints cost. When you form a company, you have to spend some money. Then you should have a board meetings. Then you have a compulsory audit, and it has to be filed with the ROC. Then annual return should be filed with ROC. So there is a complaints cost involved. So in the early stages of the company, the company is not really grown up. They are not going to banks or outsiders for a lot of equity. To avoid all those compliances, they would like to keep it as a partnership firm or a proprietorship firm. So disadvantages are compliance cost, and it is regulated by the company law, and you should have an auditors. You should have the board. You should have a board meetings. This compliance is one such thing. Okay. Another disadvantage, you want to keep something very confidential, secret. In a private limited company, your documents are public documents. Anybody can go and view those memorandum articles of association. That is one of the disadvantages. In some cases, that acts as a good thing for a company because there is more transparency.
What is the age to start a company?
What is the
age?
See, basically, it's a contract act. Anybody above 18, wherever the minor is not allowed for a contract, so you can't enter into official contract. So generally, the age is above 18. But in the partnership firm alone, a minor can be admitted to the benefit of the partnership firm. Otherwise, as a proprietor, you want to do the business, you should be a major. You should be eligible to enter into contract. Here the age is 18. Yeah.
What is the difference between partnership and private limited? I think you've already addressed that.
Yeah, partnership and private limited. I told you partnership firm is 2 or 3 people coming together. Just partnership deed is enough. You have to register with the registrar of firms and you can start doing the business. A private limited company is governed by the company law. There are much more regulations in private limited company. You should get a name, you should file your memorandum, articles of association, then hold a statutory meeting, you should have a board meetings, then you have auditors, then a lot of regulations on accounts, taxation, filing of returns, everything. So this is a difference between partnership and private limited. And partnership, there's a liability is unlimited, but in private limited company, the liability is limited. I have contributed so much of capital, I am liable only up to that. Nobody can touch my personal assets. That's a main difference between partnership and private limited. Yeah. Okay. And transferability. Partners cannot transfer his interest to anybody. He has to retire, somebody has to come as a partner. But in a private limited company, I hold some shares, I can just send it to somebody with the company's approval and walk away. So transferability of shares is very easy. Ownership transfer can happen easily. I want to buy a company 50% stakes. I can buy the shares from some people to the extent of 50%, I become 50% owners of the company.
Yeah, they're husband and wife planning to start a company. Which option is the best?
See, I told you to what extent you want to take it up, what level you want to take it up. For example, to decide whether you want to have a proprietorship or partnership or private limited company LLP, the first thing is, are you going to scale up? Are you going to depend on external funding? Are you going to go to multiple places? If that scalable mode is there, you want to raise money from outsiders. Obviously, once your product is ready, you started making revenue, you have to have a private limited company. Or you just want to have a lifestyle business. Two of you invest money, both of you want to spend some time, and there is going to be some turnover. You are going to say 20-30 lakhs every year, and you don't want to really scale up much. And both you don't want to share your decision-making power with anybody. You don't want to share your ownership with anybody. Then better to retain as a partnership firm.
Jawahar here wants to ask a question to you directly, so I'll just unmute him.
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir. This is Jawahar from Coimbatore. Sir, if our LLP if a partner is deceased or insolvent, can it still go? I mean, LLP partnership. And also, my second question is LLP partnership. Say one of the partners has given a collateral security to the banks, right? So is the bank legally possible? Is it legally possible for the bank to liquidate the collateral security for that one partner?
The objective of collateral security is to redeem the collateral and get the money. Okay. So though the partners are all responsible, but the first will be on the collateral security.
But LLP, by definition, LLP, the partners are not legally liable with their personal properties, right?
No, see, even in a private limited company, a company is taking a loan, they're asking for collateral of the directors. And the company is not able to pay, they will attach the collateral. Then the very purpose of collateral doesn't help, no?
Okay.
Okay. So obviously, collateral whoever gives. I have seen companies, directors' properties are attached because they are sometimes directors give personal guarantee.
Okay. So the LLP doesn't save you, right? The LLP partnership doesn't save you during a crisis then, when you have a collateral with the bank.
In that case, even it's a private limited company, if you give a collateral, they will attach it.
Okay.
They cannot say, see, sometimes law will lift the corporate bill. Just because a private limited company, I just borrow some loan, I run away. They can't say company cannot touch me. They will see who are the owners and make the directors liable for that.
Okay.
Okay.
And if one of the partners is deceased or insolvent or bankrupt in an LLP firm, so can the LLP can still function? Because I was told the difference between a partnership and LLP is LLP, even if one partner dies, still the firm can be intact and you don't have to dissolve it. Is it right?
Yeah, definitely there is a perpetual entity for LLP than the partnership firm. Okay, there are 3 or 4 partners, one person is insolvent. Still the LLP can run.
Okay. So we can add more partners to it, and even if one is dead, you can add more people.
Yeah, definitely. It doesn't affect the continuity of the business.
Oh, okay. Sir, sir, just one question. Yeah. Ma'am, if one of if one of the partners is doing illegal activities or not following the proper the channels, does the other partners in an LLP have the power to fire the partner who is not following the laws of the partnership?
Obviously, see, everything has got the partnership agreement clearly, right? Partnership agreement should clearly capture that. If somebody does against the interest, other partners can definitely throw him out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next question is what is the difference between LLP and INC? Is it the same or different?
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah, what is the difference between LLP and INC? Is it the same or different?
LLP and
INC.
there is no INC in India.
Okay.
Okay, so India we have proprietorship, partnership, LLP, private limited company, and a public limited company. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So we have Christy. She wants to ask you a question directly.
Sorry.
We have Christy. She wants to ask you a question directly.
Yeah, please. Yeah, let him ask. Yeah.
Christy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Sir, you have delivered a very nice session.
Yeah.
I'm a freelance trainer. Suppose I am doing online training for my participants, and I am directly collecting the payment through InstaMojo. And I have seen that few trainers are collecting like the amount plus 18% GST. So from which stage I have to collect GST also, or in which stage I have to register myself as GST? Now I have not framed any company, sir. I am working as a freelance trainer. Please guide me.
Okay. So what is your revenue yearly?
I have just started. But yearly,
Okay.
my revenue it will be around 10 lakhs.
Okay. Okay. So don't worry about it. Right now there is no need. And the next session is going to be fully about the registrations we are going to do. He'll cover about that. Okay. So up to 20 lakhs, you don't have to actually collect GST. You don't have to register for GST.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have Bala Murali, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, the session was wonderful, sir. Sir, my doubt is myself and my wife, we want to start a company. For that, which type is better option, sir? Like HUF, Individual family, or partnership, or LLP, private limited. In this four options, which is better option, sir?
நீங்க உங்க வைஃப் உங்க சன்னா 3 பேரா?
இல்ல சார், நானும் என்னோட மிஸ்ஸஸ் 2 பேர் தான்.
நீங்க உங்க வைஃப் 2 பேர் தானே?
ஆமா சார்.
ஓகே. இப்போ உங்களோட பிளான் என்ன? ரொம்ப ஸ்கேல் அப் பண்ணி எடுத்துட்டு போணுமா, இல்லன்னா மீடியம் லெவல்ல ஓனர்ஷிப் யாரோடையும் ஷேர் பண்ண விரும்புவீங்களா, இல்ல நீங்க 2 பேர் தான் கடைசி வரைக்கும் பண்ணணுமா?
லாஸ்ட் வரைக்கும் 2 பேர் தான் சார். 2 பேர் தான். ஃபர்தரா லோன் சீட் பண்றோம் அந்த மாதிரி பண்ணிக்கலாம் சார். 2 பேர் தான் சார்.
ஓகே. அப்பனா சிம்பிளா நீங்க பார்ட்னர்ஷிப் ஃபார்ம் ஆரம்பிச்சுக்கோங்க 2 பேரும் சேர்ந்து பண்றதுனால. லேட்டர் ஆன் எப்படி கம்பெனி டெவலப் ஆகுது, நெக்ஸ்ட் நீங்க ஃபண்ட் ரைசிங்லாம் போகும்போது தேவைன்னா பிரைவேட் லிமிடெட் கம்பெனியா பண்ணிக்கலாம். அதர்வைஸ் பார்ட்னர்ஷிப் ஃபார்ம் இஸ் இட்.
ஓகே சார். ஓகே, thank you.
ஓகே.
We have Sen Bhaskar.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. At a single person, maximum how company means partnership of same position in 2 company, or 1 partnership with the company, or 1 private company is possible. They have a rule.
Sir, as a single person, நீங்க வந்து பார்ட்னர்ஷிப் பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங் பிட்வீன் த பார்ட்னர்ஸ் தான். ஓகே. அண்ட் கம்பெனிலயும் வந்து இட் இஸ் அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங் பிட்வீன் த டைரக்டர்ஸ், ப்ரமோட்டர்ஸ். ஓகே. இப்போ நீங்க வந்து இப்போ ஒரு பேர் ஒருத்தரே வந்து 30-40 கம்பெனி கூட வச்சிருக்காங்க. நத்திங் ராங் வித் இட். வாட் இஸ் அ கம்பெனி? உங்க ஓனர்ஷிப் இன் த கம்பெனி. நீங்க ஒரு கம்பெனில வந்து 50%, 60% ஷேர்ஸ் வச்சுக்கலாம். எவ்வளவு கம்பெனில வேணா ஷேர்ஸ் வச்சுக்கலாம். அது யாரும் கொஸ்டின் பண்ண முடியாது. மாதிரி பார்ட்னர்ஷிப் போகும்போது உங்க பார்ட்னரா எடுக்கிறவங்க டிசைட் பண்ண ஆல்ரெடி மீதி டயத்தை நீ ஸ்பெண்ட் பண்ணும்போது இங்க எப்படி பார்ட்னரா வர முடியும் அப்படிங்களா. அதர்வைஸ் நீங்க பார்ட்னரா எவ்வளவு ஃபார்ம்ல வேணா இருக்கலாம். நத்திங் ராங் வித் தட். அதே மாதிரி ப்ரொப்ரைட்டரா நீங்க என்ன பிசினஸ் எவ்வளவு பிசினஸ் வேணாலும் பண்ணலாம். சோ அந்த மாதிரி ஸ்பெசிஃபிக்கா ஒரு ரெஸ்ட்ரிக்ஷன் ஒன்றும் கிடையாது. ஓகே.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jalan Done, sir. I think there are a few more questions. Probably we will be. Okay, one question has come up. I'm starting a training institute.
Okay.
What should be the steps to be followed? Which company should I go?
Training institute, training institute.
Training institute.
சரி, அதுதான் நீங்க வந்து இப்போ வந்து நீங்க இண்டிவிஜுவலா ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ண வரீங்களா, யாரையும் சேர்த்து ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ண வரீங்களா பாருங்க. நீங்க மத்தரம் தான் பண்ணணும்னா ப்ரொப்ரைட்டர்ஷிப்பா முதல்ல ஆரம்பிச்சுக்கலாம். இல்ல நீங்க யாராவது பார்ட்னர்ஸ் கொண்டு வரீங்க, அவங்களும் கொஞ்சம் கேபிட்டல் கான்ட்ரிபியூட் பண்ண போறாங்க அப்படின்னா இட்ஸ் a பார்ட்னர்ஷிப் ஃபார்ம். பார்ட்னர்ஷிப் ஃபார்முக்கு நெக்ஸ்ட் லெவல்ல வந்து ஓகே இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் ஃபண்ட்ஸ் தேவை, நிறைய பேரை இன்வால்வ் பண்ண போறோம், ஈக்விட்டி எல்லாம் ரைஸ் பண்ணணும்னா பிரைவேட் லிமிடெடா பண்ணலாம். ஸோ ரைட் நவ் நீங்க டிசைட் பண்ண வேண்டியது ப்ரொப்ரைட்டர்ஷிப்பா இல்ல இன்னொரு தர சேர்த்துன்னு பார்ட்னர்ஷிப்பான்னு டிசைட் பண்ணுங்க. பார்ட்னர்ஷிப்ல என்ன அட்வான்டேஜ், இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் டிசிஷன் மேக்கிங் பெட்டரா எடுக்கலாம். கொஞ்சம் 2 பேர் கான்ட்ரிபியூட் பண்ணும்போது கொஞ்சம் அதிகம் பணம் உங்க கையில இருக்கும், 2 பேருக்கு அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங் பெட்டரா இருக்கும். ஓகே, யூ கேன் டிசைட் பிட்வீன் ப்ரொப்ரைட்டர்ஷிப் ஆர் பார்ட்னர்ஷிப் ஃபார்ம். யா,
similar questions only. So can partnership be converted to private limited?
எஸ் பண்ணலாமே. அந்த பிரைவேட் லிமிட்டடா நீங்க டிசைட் பண்ணிட உடனே பார்ட்னர்ஷிப்பை பிரைவேட் லிமிட்டடா கன்வெர்ட் பண்ணலாம். இப்போ நிறைய பார்ட்னர்ஷிப் வந்து பேங்க் லோன் போகும்போது வந்து அவங்க பிரைவேட் லிமிட்டடா இருக்கணும்னு சொல்லியிருக்காங்க, அப்போ கன்வெர்ட் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. இல்ல இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் ஈக்விட்டி கேபிட்டல் நிறைய பேர்ட்ட வரும்போது அவங்களுக்கு ஷேர்ஸ் கொடுக்கறதுக்காக பிரைவேட் லிமிட்டடா பண்ணணும், அப்பவும் பார்ட்னர்ஷிப்பை வந்து பிரைவேட் லிமிட்டடா கன்வெர்ட் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. அதனால பண்ணலாம்.
I think that's about it. What are the advantages and disadvantages of one-person company? We've already covered this.
See, advantages of one-person company. Disadvantage is 1%, obviously. Okay, that's a disadvantage. And second, 2 crores turnover panna, it can't be a 1% company. So advantage is proprietorship, it's a better form. And once again, you have a memorandum articles available. Public trust will be more. Banks will place more reliance on that. But you cannot get money from anybody because you are going to be only 1% company. So the advantage itself is disadvantage. Sometimes the disadvantage itself is advantage. Okay. I would suggest simple பண்றது நீங்க unless யாரா ஸ்பெசிஃபிக்கா உங்களுக்கு வந்து they say I want you to have a 1% company, அப்பதான் வந்து I will give you a loan, அந்த மாதிரி ரெஸ்ட்ரிக்ஷன் வரத வழிய you can just have it as a proprietorship form itself.
Yeah, so that's all, sir. I think related to today's topic we have a few. If you have any other queries, you can put it in the chat. We'll probably try to cover it in the coming session.
ஒரே ஒரு question, authorized capital and subscribed capital I just answer that alone. Okay. Authorized capital அப்படிங்கிறது பிரைவேட் லிமிடெட் கம்பெனி வந்து ஷேர்ஸ் இஷ்யூ பண்றாங்க, எந்த அளவுக்கு கேபிட்டல் கான்ட்ரிபியூட் பண்ணலாம், தட் இஸ் கால்ட் authorized capital. ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் கம்பெனி ஃபார்ம் பண்ணும்போது நீங்க டிசைட் பண்றீங்க 20 lakhs authorized capital அப்படின்னா up to 20 lakhs நீங்க கேபிட்டல் பண்ற வரைக்கும் ROC-ல அதை ரினியூ பண்ண வேண்டும். You are allowed to bring in up to 20 lakhs. You don't need additional permission for that. That is authorized capital. Some companies la the authorized capital might be 1 crore. Some company it might be 50 lakhs. Some company it might be 10 crore also. Endha alavukku there is a ceiling, there is a limit. Capital kana limit da authorized capital. Subscribed capital அப்படினா எவ்வளவு ஆக்சுவலா நீங்க சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணிருக்கீங்க. For example, நான் வந்து 2 lakhs க்கு சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணிருக்கேன். Paid up capital ஆக்சுவலா எவ்வளவு பே பண்ணிருக்கேன். Now 1 lakh capital payment, paid up capital is 1 lakh. So authorized capital na limit, paid up na actually நீங்க இன்வெஸ்ட் பண்ணது, இதான் டிஃபரன்ஸ். ஓகே, yeah Priya, Jawahar.
Yeah, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll unmute.
சார் நீங்க இது பிரைவேட் லிமிடெட் சொல்லியிருந்தீங்க, இதை வந்து ஈக்விட்டி ரைஸ் பண்ணலாம் அப்படின்ட்டு. ஸோ அப்போ பிரைவேட் லிமிடெடுக்கும் இப்போ பப்ளிக் லிமிடெட்லயும் நம்ம வந்து ஈக்விட்டி தானே ரைஸ் பண்றோம். ஸோ வாட் இஸ் த டிஃபரன்ஸ் சார்?
See, public limited is a mega. Private limited maximum 200 people இருக்கலாம். Public limited you have, there is no upper limit at all. Public limit. Okay.
Okay.
And private limited kum public kum lot of differences are there. Private limited வந்து open we can't send offer letter to anybody. But public company open offer பண்ணலாம். And public company ல வந்து minimum 5 lakhs capital invest பண்ணணும். Private limited ல அந்த மாதிரி கிடையாது. And public company ல minimum வந்து 7 members இருக்கும். Private limited ல minimum 2 members இருப்பாங்க. So in terms of volume எல்லாமே public limited ல வந்து அதிகம். Same way the compliances are also அதிகம். Public limited ல வந்து lot of compliances are there. Lot of board meetings, resolutions and statutory restrictions are there in public limited company. Okay. Another better you follow private limited company because you are restricting the rate of transfer of shares. Public limited company la நீங்க வந்து shares யாருக்குனா transfer பண்ணிட்டு போலாம். And once you go for listing அப்படினா நீங்க stock market ல வாங்கிட்டு விக்கலாம். But private limited company la even though it's a private limited, still the management controls a private limited company because they own major stake. If somebody wants to transfer the share of the company, they have to get the approval of the board. Without that, they cannot do. Okay. So, considering these two, private limited company is better for the first level entrepreneurs. Public limited company, unless you want to go to public for mobilizing money. That is not going to be the easy step. Public money raise panona, there are a lot of conditions attached to that. Private limited company, just like that, whatever revenue you do, you can raise money from your friends. Just like that, but you should know those people and get that. You can't give an open offer to anyone. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.